throwing the ball down the field, making some plays. Wide receivers, between Khalil Lewis, Devin Gray, J.J. Payne, all made plays down the field for us that we hadn't seen, I think, in the first 3 weeks. And then again, I think Jared Dokes' ability to continue to generate momentum, the way he plays the game, the way he carries the football, the way he blocks, the way he just goes about his business and everything he does. There's a lot of positives we can take from that. And then I think our punting game. James Smith is a kid who's a freshman, a true freshman, has come in for us and has done a really good job punting the football. Has done what we've asked him to do. I think we're averaging maybe 2 yards a return, and that's really only one return this past week. Our net goal is 0 yards return because we don't ask him to kick the ball 65 yards. We ask him to put the ball up in the air, give us an opportunity to fair catch the thing, and we got to make sure that our net punt is 40 yards, and we're right at that point. So there's a lot of those positive things that we're going to continue to build upon, as well as the adversity and the things that are going to make us stronger. But moving forward onto Marshall, this will be a new challenge, like they are every single week, but a different challenge for us in the way that, to me, this will be as athletic a football team as we've played probably since week 2. And very athletic in what they do. Obviously, offensively, are run by the quarterback, who's, I think, thrown a touchdown pass in 24 straight games of some sorts. So has really as an explosive, has some playmakers on the outside. Defensively, as a team that's going to challenge you, get on you, press you, and do a lot of things, and aren't going to give anything up easy. So this will be a good challenge for us in all phases of the game. Yeah. I mean, you can learn a lot in watching them play everything. And Miami, in a sense, that you'll see some of the similar things that we do defensively, compared to with some of the guys that obviously we've played against them, so know exactly what kind of talent level and skill level that guys have. But in the things that you don't know, they've only played 3 games. They're coming off a bye week. You got to dive a little bit, dig a little bit deeper. And sometimes it means you got to go back into last year and just take a peek. And when you only got a 3-game breakdown and there's not as much footage there. Maybe there's only 8 plays in the red zone, inside the 12-yard line. So there's some other things that we got to go digging and dive for, which we'll do.
Offensively, with running game, do you expect Mike to be back?
We don't know. We don't know. I mean, again, we're excited about the guys that have been playing in there. Jared Dokes has done a great job. Michael Warren's done a great job. We'll get Taylor Boost back this past week. We got him back to do some special teams. Mike's status is still up in the air. We'll see. We'll run him around hopefully a little bit this week and see if he can get out there and give us an opportunity to obviously be better. If you're not going to put ourselves in a situation if he's not at a position where he can give us a chance to be better than what we've got in there, then we got to be smart with him.
In terms of, when you look at the statistics, you're down there in total yards rushing and yards per carry. I know some of that's sacks and whatnot, but how do you get that? What's the key to unlock that? Is it up front? Is it the running back?
Oh, it's everything. It's a balance. And hopefully this week, obviously throwing the ball better, having some plays down the field can loosen some things up too. Teams are going to have a way they're going to play you. And if they're going to play you with 8 guys in the box and they're going to play you down there tight, then that means in the other ways that they have an opportunity to take some shots down the field. And I think you saw that's what happened for us. We all know that, hey, if we're going to say we're going to be an offensive line and defensive line driven program, we got to be able to run the football and we got to be able to stop the run. And that's why I said some of those things are humbling experiences when the things you pride yourself on, you don't get them done. Navy unique, but still, it's not. It's still about the fundamentals of the game. It's still about doing the things that you expect to do and the things that you've worked on, from the time spring ball started. So we'll continue to get better at it. We know in order for us to be where we want to be at the end of the year, we got to have balance. We got to be able to run the football, and we believe we got the guys to be able to do it.
Defensively, what are the challenges going from a team that runs 90% of the time to turning around in 7 days and playing a team that throws 60, 70% of the time?
Sometimes the greatest challenge, if you really study teams that played after Navy, that becomes sometimes the greatest challenge, is just getting your guys back into the frame of mind of all the things that you were doing in particular that way. Not that it was the most successful, obviously, but it's just that the repetitions of doing those things, especially, as you're a little bit young. I'm not saying we're young, we've got older guys too, but just younger in all the things that we've done in a first year of a program. So again, another challenge, but that's why you play the game, that's why you coach. That's why you get excited about the things that you do.
You mentioned Hayden throwing the ball down the field more. And you said several times earlier in the year you didn't want him throwing the ball over the field, that you knew what you, how to say this. He did what you wanted him to do.
Yeah.
But now he can throw the ball down the field. So do you have more confidence in him to do that now than you did before, maybe?
Well, I think that's Coach Denbrock and all those guys. But again, you got to be able to have balance. You got to be able to take the shots with the things that the guys are giving you. And maybe the first few weeks that wasn't what was there, you know. So it's a part of the game. It's a part of the growing process. Yes, we got confidence in him. We don't want him to really ever think we don't have confidence in him. And the ability to take some of those shots are things that we know we have to be able to do. Now, maybe we didn't do them in the first few weeks. The opportunities weren't there based on how people were playing us. So, you know, this being a little bit different, again, it builds confidence everywhere, not just with Hayden, not just with the guys that can protect up front, but those guys that made some plays down the field as well.
You can see progress in Hayden.
I can see, we definitely see progress. And it's not just the easy progress to see is, well, he threw the ball down the field, he threw for 300 and some yards. No, the progress is, hey, how did he identify that? Why did he throw the ball down there? Not just because, you know, hey, I just was going to take a shot. That was the matchup we went. No, because of the things that we read, because of the things that we saw. What were they playing? Where are we looking? You know, when do we have those opportunities and take those calculated risks? You know, I'm not saying they're risks, but calculated, saying, hey, it's not really good to throw the ball down the field into a cover 2 corner, you know, into a cover 2. I mean, but when you know what you're doing, you know when the shots are there. I think that's where we're getting more confident in everything we're doing.
I know coaches don't look at the schedule before the year starts and say, hey, we should win this, we should do that. But for people like us at 2-2, you probably are about where most people thought you would be right now. And even given the fact that last week they had a home experience, do you like where you are considering what you have left on the schedule and just where you are?
No, but I'm never satisfied with where we are. I don't know what people you guys talk to. I mean, again, we live in a bubble under a rock with a lot of the things that we do, and the biggest thing that is changing the expectation and changing the mindset. So nobody's happy with where they are. Nobody's satisfied with where they are. Are we focusing on the progress that we're making? Are we looking at those little things? You know, it wasn't as easy to pull out some things to show and talk about as a team, maybe. But really, when you dive down into it, yeah, there's a lot of positive things we take from last week, and making sure the guys understand the progress and the things we're doing. The end result is not it, but the progress and the things that we're doing are what we're really truly going to dive into to figure out. Now, where we are and, you know, what's the record? That's not what we expect, not what we want. But nonetheless, that we know we got to be prepared for adversity, and what adversity? Every play, every week, every game, all the different situation things.
Are you happy with the progress you've seen?
I'm happy with progress, you know, in all different areas, you know, and I'm not happy with progress in some other areas, you know. So there's a balance, just like anything we do, you know. The mentality of not being satisfied is a very tough mentality to always have. Unfortunately, it started at a very young age. It wasn't something that just developed in the last couple of years or something that developed as I got into coaching. I think that was something that was inbred in me from, unfortunately, probably 4 or 5 years old when you started wrestling. And that's just one of those things, you know. But it gives us the ability to continue to push our guys. It gives us the ability, hopefully, to change that whole thought process and mentality and the things that we do, and be able to go week to week.
You started wrestling when you were 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, I had a crazy family. Wasn't a whole lot of other things to do, right?
So given how driven you are, what was Saturday night like?
It was very, very tough. Like I said, it was as humbling an experience I've had. You know, I still wake up those couple nights just seeing guys run down the sidelines in the field, and you know, with 2 blockers out and 1 guy out there, and I know it's not very settling. And until we got on the field last night, I thanked the guys. Their ability to bounce back a little bit better than some of us older guys. You know, they have a tendency to not have to hold on to things as long. You need to be around them. And I know for us, for me, for the coaching staff, for those guys that have been in this for a long time that have some of those mentalities and those mindsets, the greatest thing you can do is get back at it and to get back around the guys, get back out there and understand that, hey, we got to get better. We got to continue to move on. Easier said than done, but there's no better way of doing it than getting back out there and get rolling.
What is your kicking situation with obviously passing
Well, Gantz didn't make the trip last week. He was still a little bit, hurt. We're going to continue to find out. Hopefully, we'll have him out there today and tomorrow and see how he feels. And if he feels good, then we'll continue to have our kicking battle. But again, we don't want to judge. I don't want to judge. None of us want to judge somebody when they're not, healthy and in the position to try to put their best foot forward. And that's where we kind of just put him on the shelf last week and said, look, if you're not feeling right, it's not good, then let's don't keep competing and keep pushing you out there, and all of a sudden you're never going to get better. So we had the ability to kind of put him on the shelf last week, make sure we checked on everything, take care of everything, get him treated up, and hopefully he'll come out feeling good and can compete again for this week.
What's the injury?
I don't. It's a hip. It's kind of connected with the whole thing where he missed all of last year. So it's still some things, just some inflammation and things that are lingering over from I wouldn't say just from kicking. Sometimes that's over kicking. Sometimes you're not. I don't know you guys. You guys got great golf swings, but sometimes you probably get a little bit of bad place, and you just keep swinging. Next thing you know, your back hurts. So, and I could see some of those things when it wasn't going quite as well as he wanted it to, because he's a perfectionist, and sometimes that happened to be over kicked, and I think that's where his leg was just a little bit wore out.
Did he re-injure at some point?
No, I don't think he ever re-injured. I just think there's those little nagging things that, as we all do when you're pushing and you're a competitor and things aren't going exactly right, you tend to do it a little bit more, and sometimes the overuse is something that doesn't do you any good.
Your golf coverage has been real good this year. These guys, particularly the Miami game, had a couple of back touchdowns.
2.
Yeah, 2. Do you do anything different, or just make sure you stay lanes?
No. I mean, we'll have a plan. We'll have a plan if we believe that we need to do something a little bit different. That's been one of our better groups. We put an incredible amount of emphasis on it. This past week, was one that didn't do quite as good. Opening kickoff, or the first kickoff we had, we tackled them on the 14-yard line, which is something we pride ourselves in. After that, all in all, everything together, no, they busted one out to the 40. It's not something that ever is, that we accept. So we got to do a better job, not just with the guys cover, but also with kick placement. If you saw that one, our kick placement was not exactly what we're expected to do, and that has a lot to do with the way we attack, the way we pressure, the way we play. So all in all, we got to get better, but we love the challenge.
You were an interim head coach, obviously 1 year. It's 6 years later. What have you learned about yourself in the first month? Maybe
I thought I had better balance. I thought I was had the a little bit more maturity to say, hey, when some bad things happen, that you can kind of, after it's all said and done, rehash it and then move on a lot quicker. After this week, I'm not sure I had that balance. I'm not sure I had that ability to move on quite as quick. But at least I have something to refer back to realize that, hey, as I went in there last night, I said to the coaches, hey, we got to make sure by 9:30 or 10 we're out of here too, because it's going to come down to our energy. It's going to come down to our ability to not just think we're going to go fix everything and make up some new scheme, and the next thing we walk in here and we don't have the energy, we don't have the passion to go out there and practice when our guys are with us, because that's the most important thing. They're going to be a direct reflection of us. If we're dead and we're walking around and our heads are down, well, you can't yell at them to get their heads up and things like that. So I think just from that whole year, that whole experience of 8 months, I don't always be able to snap right into it, but the ability to kind of step back and realize, okay, what are those mistakes I made and why, helped me a lot more come Sunday night. I don't think it helped me Sunday morning or Saturday night, but it helped me a lot more come Sunday morning.
You guys haven't been home for nearly 4 months, I guess, when you play on Saturday. What did you learn about your team? I would think on road trips you had to take your guys all together. Now being back home, what do you take?
The great thing about being on the road is kind of like being at higher ground. Your ability to kind of go on a business trip together where you only have a select amount of guys. When you're on the road, you really got to hang out together. You really got to do everything together. Everything's kind of accelerated, where even the Fridays are nice for coaches and nice for players when they don't have to be in here till 1 or 2 o'clock, and it's kind of a relaxing, little time in that morning of Fridays. We're on road trips. I mean, you got to be in here at 9:30, and coaches got to be in here. So a lot more time we get to spend together, and in the new, in the first year of our program, our ability to be around those guys, our ability to get to know them, I think that's the thing that you take from being on the road as a positive. Say, hey, whether we didn't play well, what did we do not well, the ability for us to be together, to be around each other, to spend that extra time together, I think is something that we got to make sure we look at as a positive. And now we got to get ourselves back home. We got to get back into that routine. You got a little bit more of a, a home feel where hopefully we can, get some of that extra rest and some of those extra things and be a little bit fresher. And I don't mean physically fresher, I mean mentally fresher.
What's your take on what's been going on in the NFL around the national anthem protests? And do you have sort of a policy or expectation for your players in regards to that situation?
Well, if you see the league policy, in our league, we don't come out for the national anthem. So that's been a league policy, I guess, for I don't know how long. I can tell you this, that whatever we would do as a team. I don't view my political, I think the football game is the football game, and I think it's supposed to be held for that. But I would respect if my guys came up and when they wanted to talk about things, because that's what we do. Thursday, before we take off, we come in here, have traveled things, boom, boom, boom. If there's any other situations, the most important thing is that we're all together as one. But I don't foresee us having any type of issues of any sorts because, how we run and what we think is important about game day, the business trip, the side of things. So I didn't know a whole lot about it, to be honest with you. I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time. These guys try to inform me on some of those things as you come in just to make sure that guys know about it. But that bubble and that rock that you live under that I don't get to see any NFL games. So I worry about these guys that are right here. And I know if there's any issues, whether it's, what's going on with the NFL, whether there's issues on campus, whether there's issues from Charlottesville, whatever there are, when this group gets together in this room, we make sure that guys are aware and make sure guys talk about it, make sure guys communicate, because if we're going to truly believe in the things that we say, that together everyone achieves more, we got to make sure we do them together.
Do you have any relationship with Coach Pearson over there? Well, I guess it looks like you graduated Ohio State in '97.
Who's that?
Coach Pearson for the Marshall staff.
Oh, yeah. Pepe Pearson. I actually played with him. So he is the running backs coach over there, and he was our tailback in my senior year. So he took over after Eddie George, so know him well. A Euclid, Ohio kid. He's only a couple years younger than me, but know him very well and have good friends with him. There's a couple other guys I know from that staff as well that were with us throughout the time over there, whether they were quality control GAs of some sort.